conversations with myself, cause I feel like I have nobody to turn to. Everything was green light, now we got the red. Could've had somebody else, chose you instead. I be having conversations with myself, cause I feel like I have nobody to talk to. Everything was green light, now we got the red. Could've had somebody else, chose you instead. It's okay. Yeah, lately I be having conversations with myself, cause I feel like I have nobody to talk to. I be having conversations with myself, cause I feel like I have nobody to turn to. Everything was green light, now we got the red. Could've had somebody else, chose you instead. I be having conversations with myself, cause I feel like I have nobody to talk to.
Yes, global greetings. Welcome to another edition of the Topiks here on Real Entertainment Network. It's a pleasure to be here with you on another Tuesday evening on this platform. I want to say good evening, Oli. I want to say good evening, Amiga, the rest of the entire Eastern Caribbean, wherever you are locked in around the world. It's always a pleasure to be here with you with another edition of the Topiks. We will be joined later by my co-host, Ras Banki, Shabazz King, and we will be with you with another edition of the Topiks. We want to say to you, please be reminded to go on over to our YouTube platform and subscribe, like, and share. From there, we're going to be very much more active in that space. As you know, on Facebook, the videos are dropped after 30 days. And so if you want to go back to see any of our previous editions, you can always go back to the YouTube platform. We stream on YouTube, Twitch TV, and Facebook simultaneously as we present our editions of the Topiks, Everything Agriculture, and any other show that is aired on the Real Entertainment Network platform. We really want to send some very special thanks to the Real Network team. There's a lot that's that takes place behind the scenes. It's a lot that is necessary and required for this team to put together the productions that you do get to experience on a weekly basis. And so I really have to tip my hats to all who are involved, all who are on the team, those who are on the front page, who folks may know about, and there are lots who are behind the scenes who sometimes I'm sure maybe not even me know exactly about. So all who are part of and all those who continue to support the Real Entertainment Network platform, we really want to continue to encourage you to continue to give us that level of encouragement. To all those who usually make it their business to comment on the platform, on the shows that we do engage, we always seek to engage with those who comment on the platform as much as possible. There are times sometimes the discussion and the debates get so heated and engaged that we may very rarely though not get a chance to focus enough on the comments. But if it's one thing with our platform and our programs, we seek to ensure we engage with our participants, those who, whether it's on the Facebook or the YouTube platform, we do appreciate the fact that you could have been doing any other thing at this time, but you make it your business to log in with us here on Real Entertainment Network, and we really appreciate you being here with us and taking time out to be a part of and support what we seek to do here on this platform. So people, how are you doing? How was your weekend? How was the past week? I'm sure lots would have happened, and lots are taking place, and lots to come as we look forward to Culturama 25. I mean, sorry, 51. Culturama in 2025. That's what I meant. Culturama 51 as we experience another Culturama in the year 2025. So, lots are happening. I'm seeing some of the pre-activities taking place, some of the Calypso tents and or pre-activities, and I think there was a crawl. If well, I'm not sure. No, there was some sort of activity where the all of the participants who were or who are going to be taking part in this Culturama festivity were part of. So I see that there's a lot that's being done to seek to get people in that culture groove and that Culturama mood and all that. And it's a good look. Definitely a good look to see that is being stepped up. The promotion and advertising and so on for Culturama is stepping up, and so that is pretty good. And I'm really loving what I'm seeing and hearing. I'm just hoping that the people would step up. We as a people would step up and participate. If we don't participate, then it won't necessarily be great. And if we don't, and others do, and then they begin to inculcate some of their cultures and practices inside of the activities, then you can't be too upset if you are not being participating to ensure that the aspects of the culture that you would want to ensure are maintained through your participation. So, I want to encourage folks to do that. As we are on that topic, however, I want to interject that I would love to see some 420 friendly activities during that time, and also leading up in terms of the fringe activities and so on. I'm really, kind of taken aback as to why we are not seeking to push the cannabis industry forward, and why not seek to capitalize on opportunities like these to allow and empower our people to seek to use the time when people will be in, and we will have visitors, return nationals, and so on. And it's part of what the Culturama committee and so on seek to do. Set it up that they can encourage people to come in and spend money. And so if money is going to be spent and all of this economic activity and the spin-offs and so on, why are we not seeking to use a time like this to help to propel an industry that is now legal, so to speak, decriminalized, legal? It's on the books, it's gazetted that we can and should be embarking on some of these industries. It's demonstrated on St. Kitts with the music festival, where they carved out a 420 space for folks to be able to be free to utilize cannabis. I think we need to go a bit more further than just carving out a space for smoking. I think there need to be a space for, and I guess one would argue before we could even seek to get a space for some of these things, we have to put in place the opportunity for people to be able to develop the necessary products that I'm thinking should be in that space, which I am seeking to recommend now, which is to be able to have like I think in Jamaica there is an event called the Herb Curve. So you could have like a herb corner where it is not just necessarily about the smoking things that will be available, but you could have like an education center with all of the different paraphernalias, different ways in which cannabis could be used, a variety of different products, a lot of different products that are made from whether it's cannabis or hemp. So it can be a bit more informative and educational, and also offer opportunities for more agripreneurs or cannapreneurs, also to be able to showcase their products and talents and skills and so forth. So I am hoping that those who are at the helm can see the wisdom in that which I am suggesting and would, seek to take actions. It is not really, uh, Nevis is a kind of interesting place because when you do speak about things that need to happen or should happen, people seek to deem you as criticizer or criticizing the government. Um, but if you do criticize, it should be constructive criticism. And I want to think if I am, well, for me, I guess maybe I think different to maybe some of these people who are in authority, but I want to think that if I'm in position of authority and, I have my people judging and assessing what I'm doing, and they are looking at me and what I am doing and the approaches that I'm taking, and they can make some critical observations and assessments and critique what I'm doing. I think it should be more on me to be able to do some introspection and seek to reassess the situation instead of seeking to get defensive and want to label people as all sort of different things versus seeking to maybe just say, hey, well, maybe I need to take a step back and look at how I am approaching this, and or maybe I need to take a different approach based on some of these things that I'm hearing instead of being defensive. So, but at the end of the day, um, these are things that I think, based on how our governing structure is set up, should be the norm. We should be the people who hold the people who we elect to represent us because they're working for us. They're not our bosses. And I think a lot has to be done in terms of re-engineering the brains or the minds of our people in terms of seeing from that perspective. And I guess we will continue to do our part to seek to empower our people to begin to hold those and to continue. I'm seeing some evidence of that in recent times with well, Banky Shabbas King, I see you, with Beyond, seeking to do just that, holding some of these officials accountable when they say certain things. You should be able to have information to counteract. And, seemingly when these things are done, they seek to get offended. And that's what I'm saying. Instead of getting offended, you just need to really do what you need to do because it's more constructive criticism, especially when I assess, especially from coming from Banky, it's absolutely constructive criticism because he's not just talking about or criticizing what is not being done, but he demonstrated that he could do it, and even though he's not around, he continued to do it. So when it comes to things like these, I think that we as a people need to really begin to sometimes, and I think a lot of times, take off the political blinders and deal with the issues at hand. So these are some of the things that as a people, we really have to begin to, address seriously. And I have reached to the point where, like I've said to many on this program, and I keep saying in a lot of my presentations, that I have started to not focus so much on these politicians or elected officials and or the kind of deceptive games and tricks that they try to play, and the fact that they take advantage of the ignorance and prey on the ignorance and prey also on the fact that you are not holding them accountable, and that has become the norm. So they just continue to function as if that is the way it should be until you, the masses, begin to realize your true position. It's like a game being played and you're not understanding the role that you should be playing in the game. And in this game, you are the most powerful, but you can only be or demonstrate that power if you opt to unite yourselves together when it's time for issues that are of national interest. If you continue to allow them to divide and rule and conquer, then they will always be successful, or the successful ones in the game that they play. The game that they play to win 5 years and have your taxes, pay them, and then at the end of it, even if you choose to take them out, they still get a salary for the rest of their lives. And it's you know, it's a game that's being played, and until you wake up and realize that you're the true bosses and you can control the outcomes of those games, you know, a lot of these things will continue. Now we have, you know, Banky joining us, and we will give him an opportunity to introduce himself and get into some of the things that we would want to talk about this evening. But as I started this way, I just wanted to add at least those two things and put those two things on the table initially, and then we get into some other things. So, greetings, King. Welcome to another edition of the Topics. So, how are you doing this evening, bro? You're on mute. You're on mute. So you need to turn on your microphone.
Greetings, greetings, Yasin, and greetings to the listening audience and viewing audience. Greatly appreciate you guys tuning here. I'm glad to be here this evening again and another edition of the Topics. Seem like you're in the jungle bar, you got more nice than me. But then cricket like the right on the table here there. What the hell is this? Me wonder if I'm gonna look at man. Yeah, so good evening to those listening in the Federation of Oli and Layamiga. Greatly appreciate you guys tuning in. If you're first time listener, that's the ancient name for the Twin Islands, beautiful islands, which is the Garden of Eden. Good evening to the folks in the neighboring islands, Saba and Statia, St. Martin, the US Virgin Islands, and the BVI. Also the folks over in Montserrat. Also the folks over in Antigua and Barbuda, and also the folks to the whole Leeward and Windward Islands. Appreciate you guys tuning in at this time. We could be doing anything else on another Tuesday evening, listening other talk shows, either in your own hometown, but you choose to tune into the Topics to Yasin and myself. Also good evening to the folks in the diaspora, North America, from the Florida Keys straight up to Maine, Atlanta, Georgia, Chicago, St. Louis, Texas, New York, Boston, wherever you're at throughout the tri-state. Greatly appreciate the guys tuning in, and also the folks over in Europe, England, folks over in Asia, Africa, and throughout the whole continent, wherever you're at. Appreciate you guys tuning in, and hope you guys share the link, let everyone know the Topics is on, and have a few different topics to talk about this evening and stuff like that. So looking forward for the discussion, Yasin. And I also want to, school is out right now, so just want to know, let the parents, make sure they have things occupied for the children them to do. And so whether it's some sporting camps, whatever it is, just make sure they use the time wisely, because some of you can't take them to work and stuff like that. And plus, socializing is good. So we usually in school out, my mom used to have us involved in a lot of different Bible schools. Just Pastor Maynard was one of those. He used to have a lot of Bible school throughout the summertime, so we used to look forward for that sometime. And if not, me and the boys and just go fishing and catch wild donkey and all kind of different stuff. Make use, just go up and down and look for different fruits and stuff like that, and go by Cleston, my friend, by the Methodist Church, and make tam and jam for the whole summer, and just eat tam and jam. And surprise, we're still gonna rotten teeth and never even have one rotten teeth. But we drink a lot of water and stuff like that. So that's cool. So yes, and everything is good. The farm is good. Just preparing some areas to plant out some melons. Can have melons fruiting out ready within a month time. And then I'm gonna set seedlings this Sunday again. So you just keep repeating, have planting. You say we're looking planting available papaya, have some papaya ripening up, soursop at the shop, some mangoes, emipali along with grafted mangoes, and also some watermelons and stuff like that. So then in the next month also should we start harvesting some cassava. So bananas, planting, soursop, papayas, watermelon. So, and that is what me plant or what me sell. Me when the farmers buying things to sell, meaning that, You see what I mean? Yeah, so what I plant is what I sell, so appreciate those who support Manso's Last Stop and Shabazz Organic. So want to big up Aisha and Amanis and also Tasha, but also the everyday customers that come through, and also those who come through on Fridays, Amanis will do cook up and stuff like that. And then Saturday, you can get your fish and fungi and your macaroni and cheese and your and the different pies and so forth. Your soul food cooking. And every Saturday you can place your order, you just drop by the shop, have a nice area, scenery of St. Kitts and watch the boat pass, nice breeze, farm view, can still take a tour on the farm, come to the back, chill. Beautiful place. You understand? Right on the main road, can't miss it. So you get the good, so come to you get fresh local drinks at the same time. If you want to drink a Carib or whatever, and you're good in good company, and that's what my uncle man said. That's the intention he had wanted to set it up with. The farm is a safe place to be, and you can take the food off the farm and put it in the kitchen and prepare it for the folks and stuff like that. So, want to shout out Cut, number one barbecue man on the grill. Cause I mean every Saturday, and me boy Wilford, the architect, we call him Morton, and Eddie and all them guys that come through, Keith Swanston. So you have a regular Cut and all the others, you know what I'm saying, that come through every Saturday and support. I mean, Mansur's last stop and Shabazz Organics, get their fresh jelly water and stuff like that. So, yeah, just so those who never been there, come for the experience where you see you can come on a farm, sit, get your lunch, eat, watch the scenery when you're tired to get up, walk, take a stroll to the farm and just get some nice breeze. That's the kind of meditation. Yeah. Yes, son?
But I hear, right, and it's only due to the fact that you brought up the sound of the cricket sounds, so I really starting to hear them and so in the background for real, I really wasn't paying
True.
attention. But yeah, man, it's really good to hear, the energy that you are really putting out there on the farm, and it's really a source of motivation, and I think it's a step in the right direction. We need to have a lot more of these sort of spaces that we create that vision of agri-tourism and the cottage style niche
Yes.
creative spaces which eventually too we as I was talking about earlier, we could and should be also embracing the 420 opportunity in some of these spaces. We have decriminalized cannabis, and we are not still yet in a position where we can totally benefit from things like these. Culturama is coming up. We hear nothing about any 420 friendly spaces within whatever activities that we're going to have, which would offer opportunities for some of those people who have been victimized and been fought down and still living in limbo as we speak. Because here is it, you have an industry that legally is being decriminalized, but because the government has failed to put their regulations together in some cases, and in other cases, ministers seemingly are blatantly just not doing the job that they're being paid for in relation to addressing the topic of cannabis. And we are seeing it especially on the Nevis end and also on the St. Kitts end. On the Nevis end, we're actually hearing absolutely nothing where cannabis is concerned. On the St. Kitts end, the Ministry of Agriculture has gone forward in pushing, along with the Cannabis Authority, the Medical Cannabis Authority, pushing the agenda of medical cannabis, and is doing a lot of work in terms of, the PRO and getting the agenda across. However, in relation to the two main areas that Sankofa, who catalyzed the move for decriminalization, the areas that he challenged the government on and was successful, the areas of spiritual or religious use of cannabis and private use of cannabis are seemingly placed on the back burner. They are placed under the Ministry of Ecclesiastic Affairs, and we really should think about these things, because when we live the society that we live in, who fought cannabis and Rastafari more than the church? Who? Which group or organization apart from the individuals? Because yes, our brothers and sisters, our individuals in our societies and communities fought us too, Rastafari and cannabis users too. But in terms of organized group, who fought us more than the church? And then now we are free to use cannabis, and you're putting us to go to the church to get a license? No, that's not bad enough. The minister who is responsible for that area has not stepped forward. We have not heard anything, absolutely nothing in relation to that. And in that regard, where you're saying Nevis is still in a war situation, in that regards, there is no Ministry of Ecclesiastic Affairs in Nevis. So the Nevisians, apart from not hearing anything, even in regards to medical cannabis, the Nevisians are still in a war situation because they don't have a Ministry of Ecclesiastic Affairs. And they are not certain, I should say we are not certain as to who in Nevis, if there's any agency or any arm that is representative of the Ecclesiastic Affairs Ministry and St. Kitts. So which means for those on St. Kitts and Nevis who are seeking to get the use of cannabis for personal and or spiritual or recreational use, we are still way behind, because at least St. Kitts have a minister and a ministry that is representing that aspect, even though they are not active and are not doing anything, because we have not heard anything in regards to that. And you, the master, and this is why I'm saying, I am at the point where I am not necessarily trying to chastise these ministers, so not because they hear me call them out. The fact that you all are not agitating, the fact that you all are not getting down on them, you're paying them, and they're not doing their work, and you're not calling them out. Well, why should they really then push to do anything? That is the mindset. It's like, if the bottle is not broken, why try to fix it? If we're not doing it and nobody's saying anything, nobody's making any noise, nobody is trying to agitate, there's no pushback, there's no threat of me losing my seat because I'm not doing this, why am I going to continue to do it? I could just continue to ignore it. Like they say, ignore the noise, if you all are not doing anything. And so the onus, I keep saying, is on you, the masses. The Ministry of Ecclesiastic Affairs, who's supposed to give you the license for 5 trees, who's supposed to give you the license for the 56 grams, and if you want to set up a lounge and all of these things, if you are ready and you have your business plan together, you can't get a license for it because they don't have any regulation, but yet police still going around in PPA and pulling up trees. Why aren't they talking to their legal officials and telling them that this is time for a moratorium? Have a moratorium until you get the regulations in place. These are some of the discussions and debates that I would really love to hear as we move forward. And so as we talk about Culturama and moving forward and pushing forward to seek to empower our people to benefit from the economy of scale here on St. Kitts and Nevis, here is an opportunity that is just being shut down because the government has realized the huge opportunity on the medical side, and they have moved forward because they're looking at the kind of taxes that they could get. And that is the area that they've been pushing forward. But in regards to any other thing, they are not. And Sankofa would have pushed. Sankofa didn't take the government to court for anything to do with the medical cannabis. But we have allowed the government to hijack the cannabis industry and push us into this medical cannabis more than talking. That is not what Sankofa challenged the government with. That was not the case. And so, Banky, those are some of the things that I'm looking at as we seek to move forward. And I really hope that these words are not necessarily falling on deaf ears, and that we could really have more people coming forward and push their minister to do something for this Culturama. Make sure that you have a 420 friendly space. Make sure that it is more speed up. So that is my 2 pence on the topic. I don't know if there's something else you want to drop in here and we move on to something else, Banky, or if you just want to comment on that and move forward.
Well, let me just say, I know you just say you're not going to hold the ministers them accountable sometime, but the reality is we live in an environment where victimization is really, and these ministers take things personal, very petty. You know what I'm saying? All of them, all government, they victimize their people if they speak out and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So there are many people who are in will be as blunt as me and you would just, we're not taking anything personal. We just, and that is, and if you, and that's where you see democracy don't really exist. It's just a term that is bantered around. You should have mean and used against the less fortunate. In everything you do, you got to make up your mind. If you are a man, stand up, and fight. Otherwise, you're gonna be a slave. You know what I'm saying? If you don't stand up,
Also, Banky,
you're gonna be a slave. Yes.
we have a responsibility as well, and that is why we are seeking to play that role here. There's not
Well, of
much.
course.
I've really heard much platforms like speak to the electorate the way we are speaking to the electorate in terms of seeking to get them empowered to hold their elected officials more accountable, and demand also that they consult with them and get them to realize that they are the bosses, and these people who they elect are not their bosses. And we are
So
seeking
I
to do
just
that.
go back again and change the show. Is not a matter. I know you're supposed to know your people. This victimization, Virgin. I work amongst them. I work in the civil service, and everybody within a department have their own team, and those people who suck up to them. What's your Virgin? I don't give blowjob, I don't suck up to man, and I don't suck up to woman. I don't suck up to nobody because all of us are equal. If you deserve a position, you get your position. Me ain't giving a blowjob on a position, my brethren. That ain't gonna work. Me not join the boys club. You see me to show you? I grew up in an environment where you don't grudge people for what they have. That's how I was raised. Because you don't know how to get the things. But as a man now, I've grown to know that a lot of men get things by doing other things. A lot of females get things by doing other things. I ain't want to be a part of no alliance. People, me to find a virgin. Me ask by myself, as a youth all the time. Because I've grown to realize a lot of people I grew up with in a lot of boys club. You see? You ask me say, Virgin, if I hold a man hand and the man hand soft and feel softer than my wife hand, right now, me no I'm gonna dealing with you, Virgin. Me not touch you hand again, Cause me not trust you, Something wrong with you as a man. No man hand supposed to feel so. I don't keep working in the office all your life. No man hand supposed to feel softer than a woman one. Can't trust nobody like that. Something is wrong with that. Cause I understand how the environment works. So I analyze things as a youth because of my environment. I've learned and gained a lot of knowledge because of my environment and stuff like that. So I see at an early age, for instance, I'm in bio school, I see how the world function. Early up, you see, and it brought me to like learn to be by yourself because that's all, man. You have enough siblings and sisters, play with them. You're your best friend. Are you going to fight and disagree? That's the way it is. You have your family big enough because outside because you can't trust people. Our society is this thing where you see, and that's what you see. As you mentioned, at the church are the problem. I always tell you the church are the problem all the time, And that's the problem. Out of politics come the church, and the church you come out of. You see? Because everything is just a scheme. It's all about money and tricking the people. You see? Virgin, I don't want nobody to come tell me. If I choose to want to come and say, well, I understand how the tree stay, nobody's supposed to come and tell you because everything just belongs to money. Follow the money and you will see. Because how you going to tell me you fight against something, but then you put the same thing in charge of it? How you going to tell me when your constitution, from since you farm it and forge it and copy it and paste it, wherever, are the great minds do it, not me. Give every citizen the right for the use of herb or supplement, whatever, and then put it in there, not me, But yet you still afraid to people. Because you're going to tell me there is a drug act. I don't care about a drug act. I care about my constitution. I care about the constitution because that supervises everything. So for years, people like me and others who use the herb been getting fight, getting locked up. And then the people within the society scan you and this and that. But you stand tall because you know you're not doing nothing wrong. If you know you're not doing nothing wrong, make up your mind to take your lock up. Make up your mind to take your fight. Because down the road, everything will play itself out. And if everything plays itself out, that's just how the reality is. Because their people are not willing to stand up for what they believe in. Because they're three type of people, They're those that going to just go along with it. Just go along with it, period. You see? That's it. There are those that gone by another wrong in the butt. Me wanting to say me crazy and me this and me that and whatever. So me just go along with it and yeah. Yeah, but there are those who just not go along with period. Can you see it for what it is? Because once the universe choose you and put the spectacles on your eyes, Virgin, you see things for what it is. If you want to be in denial and say, well, that's not what it is, that's you. But I see things clearly for what it is. So I don't attempt to waste time, but up things. I like to be and continue. Because time is something waste you can't gain back, So I try to use my time wisely in everything I do. Because my peace is what is most important. You see all these things when you see the minister in St. Jeffrey Hanley and even have a meeting with his office yet. No meeting, 'cause I called the office and spoke to them. I don't even had one since. But if he did, he should have come and say he had one. So which means I stand with it, and I had none yet. You know what I mean? Let them come out and say they had a meeting and what the plan is. You not even have a what you call it there? A leave to say, well, you have what's your name, what's your address. Not even that. They come up with yet.
So
Nothing.
How do we allow this to continue? Is it
Because one
like
at this no. Because they're not serious, yes, son. Yes, son. They are not serious. They're playing a game.
who
We
they
mean
are not
the
here?
whole the government, all the ministers, them in
But
navies and
the
them in
question
sinkings,
I'm asking,
both local and federal.
the
Yeah.
question I'm asking is not so much to these officials. This is what I'm saying. How are we allowing this to continue? Where we elect officials, this official that we just mentioned, Mr. Hanley, a part of his portfolio, he was given this task in his portfolio. We, the
Not he
taxpayers,
alone.
are
Eric
paying
too.
him.
The one in navies too.
Right. So, but because you mentioned him, I was dealing with him specifically, but the same applies to Mr. Evelyn and Nevis.
Yes.
And the question I am asking is how do we, the electorate, how we, the nationals of Nevis, are continuing to are allowing these things to continue where you're paying a minister, because here's it's your taxes being paid to these guys, and this is a part of his portfolio. And if he's not doing absolutely nothing, then you're telling me we're paying you for something that you're not performing. So this performance thing that they said they do now, hold on 1 second. This performance mission, I think they have this ministry of productivity, and it's not performance, it's productivity. Well, I hope that the ministers of government too fall into line with this kind of productivity that they're seeking to deal with, because this is a level of not being productive in areas that you are being paid for. And Mr. Hanley is paid to deal with cannabis from the spiritual and the recreational side. And Mr. Eric Evelyn is paid to deal with it from the medicinal side.
Yeah, but son. You gotta
So
realize.
why with the taxpayers are making noise?
But
Why with the taxpayers doing nothing?
it's not a matter of making noise, Card we're making noise, we're talking. So the masses don't have to talk sometime, You see what I mean? Yeah, we talk, but others, you gotta remember, once a few people making money within that environment, you see what I mean? Because you see, and the Navy's ends, and in the because the church in the truth, the church in the truth, because they still, but yet when they have but the church they play smart, because you see music festival went where see the High Commission come out and say you will have 5 spliff. Well, who would have 5 spliff? Did they say at age 21, at age 18, at age 1, at 5 you can have 5 spliff? Anybody could have 5 spliff. So that much to show you. Do you hear the church or anybody or all those different groups or who so whatever say anything about it? I tell you, them are canos. So I know I live in an environment where I remember the same people who in the music festival are them going to church this Sunday, So being deep in the water, you're not Christian, Remember that? So I over the society I live in. Can nobody went more church than me? And nobody know the Bible back and belly more than me. And the other, you understand, spiritual texts. You understand? I got a text, yeah. You understand? All kind. So I know it's all a game. And if you don't, and those who don't realize it's a game, you unwillingly give your money to these people and they're laughing after you. Because I'm going to tell you this. We live in a society in a way, and I'm going to keep saying it all the time. Who will figure it out will figure it out. Who ain't going to figure it out will never figure it out, because I know the type of people I'm living around. You see? Because they're those, once you ain't going their way, everybody else crazy, but them not realize they're crazy. You see? Because there are people in our society, bad and evil is good. You see?
But
Bad and
Banky,
evil is good. No. Let me say this, because people don't believe these things. You see? I know they don't believe these things. They don't believe they have our kind of secret societies living amongst them. They don't believe that. The same people that praise and this and that and worship, they don't believe and know. And well, let me count the word believe, because I don't use the word believe. You understand? They don't know, because I know. You see what around me, I know. So me not act blind, but they don't know, because they have, and like to use the term belief. You see, that's what they like to use. But I know why they're thinking like that. You see, you will be easily tricked, my virgin, because what they don't realize, the same people who clap with them and they go up, however, they don't see things how they see things, or how, if yes, if you want to see this thing as blue, say blue. And me come on, you think, well, me come with you and say, buy blue true, because you will make you feel good. Because me the same blue, you get against me, so me not gonna waste my time argue with you. Yes.
Banky, here's my kind of dilemma when I
You
assess what's
can't
happening.
save the world. You can't save the
No,
world. You can save
hold on.
some. Remember that?
Hold on, me not say save the war. Here's what me try to.
All right.
Here's my thought process here. We claim to be a 90+% literate society.
No. Yes, so you can read a book and understand what you read. You can read a book and you don't even remember one thing you read and can't analyze nothing. That have nothing to do with literacy. Reading no mean you could understand what you just read. You thought and process nothing. So those kind of things there is madness. Trust me. You could read, so you know when you read, you don't analyze what you can't compare nothing on the after. What did you just read? Me no. Do not mean nothing, my virgin. You should be able to comprehend what you read and understand the terms and all the difference, and that's what we come with. Not just because we read a line.
So then, based on what you just explained there, then I guess that is why, quote unquote, these people are still being deceived and tricked by sometimes people who are not even close as educated as they are, but is able to get them wrapped up in one side like a gang life, where it doesn't matter what these people over on this side say, and I don't even want to hear anything from the other side. So you get so caught up and wrapped up in this thing that you could be played like a fiddle. How could educated people allow themselves to get into that kind of
Wait, back up again. Wait. No, back up. You just say educated what?
People.
Educated what? What Bob Marley says, stiff-necked what? What are you talking about? What is educated people? What you call educated people? Explain this to me. Because listen to me. My mother probably dropped not even high school or whatever, and is the most educated person I know. Work for herself, raise her 8 children, everything. You can best accountant there is Hokofola. Manage everything. You understand? So what your mom the same way, your dad the same way. So they're educated. We have been duped. No me build well all in church, all in temples run and all in sugar mill. No me build them. No you build them. No we build them. You see, we have been duped. I don't process things like that. So that's why I don't put pressure on my youth and them. Oh, you gotta come first and you gotta do this when you know. Nah. Coming first in primary school and high school, I mean, that ain't determine what your outcome and your success in life gonna be all about, my virgin. Because it's based on an environment. You see? My environment show me this thing. My uncle Brian, everything he do, he on a bank for nothing he do. And he was a butcher. He still work on boats and whatever. And this goes straight to my family line. It's a few of us is the first to go to college and the kind of vibes. You said them never, they're not been, their base, the minds is different. Your family, and you see it all around us. All the guys who build my house and build all their houses around the place. But where they went, All the plumbers them who work around me up on the place, where they went. All the highways in New York up on the place, where they went. We have been duped because they have all these alliance. Nothing wrong with that. You understand? But it's all about dope because we keep saying stiff-necked fools. You see? Marley say, our new enslavers is the educated ones. You see? Stiff-necked fools. You can't fool people all the time, Virgin. So when you see things what it is, it's what it is. You see what I mean? We tend to look up to society because, well, you're not a doctor, you're not a professor. People call me doctor every day, but those who went and get the paper, the investment, they'll call me doctor because they spent 12 years. So, well, how do you call a doctor? Where you get to do doctor? Well, me a doctor too, or you're a doctor too. Everybody a doctor. The mechanics, them not a doctor. Everybody is specialist. But we only want, and everybody want a lie. Everybody a this. Everybody is specialized, my Virgin. Until we start to treat others with respect for what their profession is. Because everything is a profession. A liar get paid talk because he could talk the most. It's a skill set. It's psychology. You understand? And understand human behavior and social and other things there. That's all it is. But everything is just being put in different and wherever and who believe they could can each other the most by making nobody to can. So when one think the smarter, me make a problem with that. And that's just so me don't get tend to call nobody honorable because they ain't honorable one, yeah. That is what it is. You got to earn to be honorable. I call you honorable. I call the regular man them honorable. That's how me flex. But me not call these guys honorable when you could see with their face, the petty, and they say they're supposed to serve the whole island, and yet nobody could question them and all this different stuff. No, me not dig that. And me not butt up that. And if God come in front of me and tell me something, me tell him, I know you're chatting crap. Because you give me that authority to think for myself. So why should I accept what you're telling me if I feel like it's crap? It's crap, it's crap. That's just what it is. Fear is what have our society living like this.
Okay, seems as if Banky get frozen a little bit there. And as he said, fear is what have us like this. I thought he was going to be taking me down a line of discussion that is not that fear that he's talking about, but is the fear sheer issue that is seemingly one of the issues and topic that is very much relevant in the space at this time. We would have had some discussions in the past where it was said that well, let me back up a little bit. The 2022 campaign for CCM and Nevis was was mainly based on this fear sheer argument, and it was propelled, and I think it riled up and preyed on the emotions of the masses, and thus the masses, like the intent of the push, sort of got all riled up and was in the arguments and presentations for fear sheer for Nevis. The argument of fear sheer, very much instrumental in the arguments presented by the Concerned Citizens Movement for the elections of 2022. Now, the reason why I am going to go back to this a little bit is because I want to put certain things into perspective as we question the fact that the end result of the arguments presented during the fair share argument and the success of CCM as a result of those arguments and so on, the issue was still left on the table. Mr. Jew, the Prime Minister, would have taken some steps in terms of seeking to address the issue by getting independent international professionals to address the issue from the World Bank. Now, Dr. Jew would have presented his findings to the local Nevis Island government since I think sometime in March, May. I stand to be corrected, but I think maybe it was in March. And we are now in July, almost heading into August. And this issue that was such a pressing issue, I would have wanted to think that after you would have gotten this information. And especially hearing the Premier said back then in the campaign that even a sixth farmer or a fifth farmer in high school could have calculated that there was absolutely no need to take this to the the World Bank for any research and any study. But yet, after the World Bank study, after a whole year and plus maybe of campaigning for the fair share, we now have the documents and we are yet to hear or even be privy as to what the recommendations are from the World Bank. Banky, what are your thoughts on the hold up and the holdback on such an issue that was so much embedded in the minds of the people and was so much a part of the agenda for the elections of 2022, which saw the success of CCM getting their 3 seats on St. Kitts, even though the 3 seats this time is not as powerful as it was, because at this point they were in the opposition benches versus being in the actual government benches prior. You're on pause. Your mic is paused.
Is a can again. You remember the whole song? The SIDF money? Where the SIDF money? You remember Bingy song?
Mm-hmm.
Big thing ever, biggest thing ever. Emotions overboard. When every time I ask them about this SIDF money and they're silent, they create enemies amongst families and stuff like that over this SIDF money. Emotions. But I tell you, once you're gonna study certain type of you must do certain courses. You must learn how to play on people's emotion, and lawyers and all this, a lot of these different courses that one must say professional to take, have to do a lot of these different courses and so forth, play and understand how people think, and these asking those strategies. So those who don't benefit off of going on the bandwagon. So you think these wise men who went to school for 12 years and 13 years and 10 years, all these doctors and lawyers and all these engineers got about 400 years of schooling in both them in St. Kitts and Nevis. Then I know what the information say. All me want to know. Me know, your son, watch it. All me want to know, well, they don't figure it out. Remember the fool you, so you think me entertain them things then? Yes, son, me never tend to play games with people, you know. And the people know better. They know what the information say. If something is serious, you call meeting anytime. You see me just come home, I saw you work. You're working for your taxpayers. Ain't nothing to call cabinet meeting, Virgin. You call meeting Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, anytime. These things are not serious. They know what the information says. You don't need to go to no World Bank. It tell you how to share your own resources. So the World Bank smart on you with all the engineers and all the my wife is an economist, got a master's. My mother could have figured out that, tell you what it is. Well, lad man, I be brother and sister. If you make some money, you make $10 million, lad man. Man, for the boy, what I say, man. I'm gonna give you 3. I'm gonna give you 4. Me and keep 6. That's what honest people. And these things are necessary, Virgin. We can't break the constitution all the time. I do the want to take the VAT money and this money and that money back and forth. So again, maybe. That's why we got to change the whole thing.
That is why also it is seemingly important for us to be able to put these things into perspective, because I think one of the things that I realize is happening as I listen to, and this is not just on Nevis in terms of the politics, but I'm seeing it also evident in St. Kitts politics and even some politics that I see happening throughout the region. It seems as if they're dependent on people forgetting issues and forgetting things that happen. And the fact that too, a lot of the younger people and especially some of the electorate don't pay attention to certain things. And especially if it's something that was like, for example, the fair share. It was a hot topic and then that was it. And so after that, they expect you to just forget about all of those things. So I think that one of the reasons why it is important for us to, at times, rehash, so to speak, or seek to educate the masses on some issues is because, to some extent, it would be new information to some people, those who don't necessarily even care about or pay attention to some of these things. And then to those who they expect to forget, it can also function as a sort of reminder. And so I think in regards to this fair share issue, I think what has happened, and I stand to be corrected because I have not seen the document, but I think that is probably one of the reasons why it is taking so long for the response, because I think maybe they have been caught off guard in this sense
With what?
that,
With what?
well, because if we understand the whole argument and premise where the fair share is concerned, you would understand why I am saying maybe they're caught off guard. Because when the premier, and this is why I'm saying a lot of this deception was intentional.
But I still don't understand what I still don't understand what you're saying. Get caught guard with what decision you think have been made. I don't know.
Okay.
You see what I mean?
So I'm going
to speculate.
I'm going to tell you what I am thinking.
So
I'm going to tell you what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Right? Here's what I am thinking. And this is what I'm saying. When the premier was making his arguments for fair share, that was part of the deception, because the people...
Which is what? What is fair share? What is the fair share?
That is what I am saying. He played with that phrase because the people have always been arguing that St. Kitts was treating them unfairly. The praying and the emotion, because back then people think about back then when we used to get the old...
I can understand that. Of course.
However,
yes,
the reality of the situation was that the premier was only asking for fair share of the citizenship by investment money. It was only an argument for fair share of the CBI. And that has to be made clear. We need to understand that. So this is why I'm saying they may be caught off guard. Because now, in response to that, my thing is, I think that Dr. Drew would have recognized that he can't just deal with fair share when this government that is asking about fair share shut down the VAT and shut down the taxable revenue sharing agreement. How could you start to fix up something that is not even constitutional when you have the constitution being breached by you choosing to hold your taxes over in Nevis and we hold taxes over in St. Kitts and do the same with VAT? So now the document has been presented. I am of the view that when World Bank looked at it, World Bank took all of these things into account. And so now what is being presented now? I said, we don't know. That's what I'm saying. I told you, this is my supposition. I believe this. So I'm not saying that it is for you, but I haven't seen it. I am saying that
you don't know. But you believe me, you don't know. Believe me, you don't know.
I did say that originally. I don't know. I did say that.
Yes, I mean, I speculate. So I'm not going to speculate. I'm not going to go to that.
I am speculating based on the information that I have at hand, Banky. This is the reality.
Which is what?
I am looking at it as...
With the information be. Can we tell you what the information have at hand? Which is information.
Here's what I'm saying. I am seeing myself in the position as the Prime Minister.
Yes.
We have a federal... I am the Minister of the Federation.
But yes, and you remember first, you remember first, they are VAT revenue sharing. But it's just these guys keep doing what they want with it without breaking the Constitution, and them allow it amongst. Remember, them are all in the same boys club, So they now fight each other and whatever. It's just like when they put the law in place, and so Nevis can't so sink it and whatever. They went in the house and boom, boom, boom. The Nevis be responsible for itself then. You see what I mean? They choose to do what they want to do. You see what I mean? And then get the tree reading back to back, bam, 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 bam.
So, Banky, I hear what you're saying, and this is why I'm saying this is what I believe. This is what I'm saying. If we have,
you believe me, you don't know. So yes, I don't know. So I mean, speculate.
I hear what you are saying. Here's what I am saying. My speculation is based on these facts. The fact is,
Well, for facts
there
that.
is the fact is there is a
Yes.
constitutional tax sharing revenue arrangement. It is in the constitution that the taxes
Yes.
for St. Kitts and Nevis should be shared in this particular way. I know as a fact that the concerned citizens government, I think it was under Premier Amri at the time, would have opted to breach that constitutional agreement. And it has been breached ever since then. That they have opted to break that constitutional agreement and decide that they are not sharing it. They're going to hold their tax in Nevis and St. Kitts hold their tax. When it came around to the VAT,
okay,
that
good.
was done as
So if
well.
I'm a breach it, if I'm a breach it, and the federal government breach it too, and both of them breach it. If one breach it, both breach it.
Because they didn't take any action. If you want to put it that way, that they didn't take any, there was
Well,
no repercussion.
Well, that's the whole point. Well, that's the whole point. Both of them breaking the constitution, breaking the law.
So hold on. So this is why I'm saying, okay, if here is it that the constitutional agreement that you have, the legal agreement that you have, you're choosing to break it. What guarantee I have then if I have any other agreement with you that you're not going to break it? Because if the constitutional one you're breaking, which is legal, what guarantee I have as Prime Minister that if I make another arrangement with you which is not constitutional, that you're going to live up to that as well, and you're not going to, when something happens down the line, you decide, well, okay, me ain't working with that either. So that is why I believe, that's what you're saying, this is why I come to that speculation that as a Prime Minister, that's what I would think as well, that we have to fix these here first. You can't come tell me about fair share of CBI, and I can't fix that if we ain't get these other two here fixed. So in the agreement, in what I am going to do to solve this, it will have to be a holistic approach where we deal with all of these tax sharing arrangements that we're supposed to have. And I think now, and this is where more speculation again, I think as a result of that, CCM would have to go eat back up the vomit, and they're going to come back to tell the people that, well, we got to go back to this thing here. And they don't want to have to do that. So maybe that is what is part of the hold up why we are not getting the kind of response. Because you can't tell me you campaign and fair share for nearly a whole year. And then now we get back the results. After you get the results, you're finding out an excuse about you're in campaign. We had cabinet meeting on Wednesdays. The Premier can call cabinet meeting anytime you want. So those things are not excuses.
But you gotta realize it's not about the Premier part, you know. You keep well the minister, nobody is singing the talk neither. It's a collective effort. Both of is
why would I need to talk, Banky? If I tell you I'm going to go to the World Bank to get a report, and I get the report from the World Bank and I give you, why have me got to say? You got to come to tell me now when I don't give the report.
Yes, son. No. The Prime Minister. Listen, the Prime Minister, right? You see, because me not play game with neither the Prime Minister, nor the Premier. Me not in that. The Prime Minister is the Commander-in-Chief of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. He gonna come and say, oh, I gave the report to the. That's crap. You can't say what the report say. Anybody can say the report say is that because they are serving the taxpayers. They're not in their own house and decide. That's what it is. So me not entertain them games they're playing.
Me not agree with that. Me not agree with what you said, because at the same point, there's a level of diplomacy that we have to deal with, right? And so even though I am the Prime Minister and I got the document, remember you've been arguing for the document, you know? You've been arguing for it, so I am giving you the opportunity now to at least go through it first and then respond before I go say something. So he can say something, yes, but I think he's giving the Premier the opportunity to do what he needs to do. But what I am saying and what my contention is that the Premier don't got it for more than long enough for him, because he been a campaign and said that he want his fair share. So if now you get the document, what is the whole of that you got it since March and you can't come to tell the people in July?
But had it since January. But who said they had it since January? I had it in December. Who said they had it since December?
I am going based on what he said. He said he get it. But he said he get it in March.
So your trust. So your trust what they say.
I am dealing with what he said.
So your trust what they say.
So it's not about trust.
Well,
I am just using the dates that they gave to justify my arguments on my side. So I'm just using what they presented. He said that he got the document in March. We are now in July. This is a document that you've been waiting for because you say even 6 farmer could do it. But the Prime Minister said, okay, no, I'm going to get an outside, private, non-aligned, nobody who really got no beef in this thing here to come to an agreement. The World Bank would have come to a conclusion and the Prime Minister presented it to the Premier.
Yes, son.
So we can't,
yes, son.
can't,
They could have
can't
left Sylvain Henry, because we tend to think that when you think of these World Bank and these IMF, there is some specialist.
You know the
Them is
politics
crap.
is
You understand?
You use Sylvain Henry, somebody gonna say some politics in it.
Where them think-
So that's why I say me not got a problem with he using the international agency to come up
Yeah,
with
but
the
them days
solution.
them days waste of time. Them days waste of time. Waste of time. We have to get out of these things here where we have to always go outside and we have
This
all
is
same
what-
people with. Yes.
You know what I love how we the debate because a lot of things we don't agree on and we
We
teach
don't have
people
to agree,
how
yes, son. We don't have to agree. That's fine. Yes.
Here's what I'm saying. Me can fault the Prime Minister no way in a this for making a decision like that.
What we're saying, what I'm saying, yes, son.
Let's blame the Premier. This is where I think the blame should be because he been arguing for fair share. And he campaigned for it for much ever years.
Me hear you.
No,
me hear what you're saying.
Why are you holding back? Then are you holding back now? When I call it, but the Prime Minister don't got it, you know.
Yes, and all that is fine. The longer he stay, he gonna have to answer to the people. He got to. So me not foot up myself. You see what I mean? Why would me not lose a sleep over that? You know, the longer he stay and his cabinet stay, they would have to. When they come and say, well, it said blah blah blah. All this they need to look at that. Me know about that. It's just words. Me understand how words be. So they think I excite me. Now it's waste of time. Because that's what they're not serious. That's what I'm keep trying to show you. When you're serious about something, that would have been already been spoken on both sides, but they are not serious. That is the whole point. You could see that they're not serious. If it was an emergency, from the get it, you don't know the next day within the same time. We don't been through this, boom, boom, boom. We call all our boom together and finance card, and that's it done. Easy thing. But they fool you. So you don't want this like the constitution, like it's complicated, so you can't even change a comma. You let these people fool you, they're not fooling.
As I listen to you, right? As I listen to you, I am thinking, right, that it seems like based on the conclusion that we are drawing, well, at least you are drawing, because I still got some hope, right? That it seems like it ain't even make sense you run, because at the end of the day, these people here, as you're saying, don't set in the way, and it is being demonstrated that even though these people don't care and they might do what they might do, people still vote them in. So that's what
people are not holding. Watch, accountability is key. Accountability is key, but we have reached a point where you hire Yason, and I also know Yason is your master. You see, and whatever Yason say, you just go along with it.
How do we get
people gotta be a part? People have to be a part of the process. Right now, people are not part of the process. That is the issue. The people are not part of the process. Who is a part of the process is those who hold the position they put them to serve. The MPs and the senators are those control everything. You got to make your government inclusive. The people got to be a part of the government decision makings. You cannot just, that is the issue. Until you start to put things like that and people realize, you see how Indian Castle run? I did not check the color of the building, the gate, the this, the that. Everything is done by the staff have a part in the process. When stuff is done like that, you get a better collective and you get a better working environment. And that is how I know about going things. Not one man and two man and nobody else have no say. I don't work like that. That is how you change. You make the general public be a part of the process. You be chance to be open with them. What is going forward? These are what it is. Why? Okay. Yes, I'm putting up myself to run. Bam. So I'm going to sync it, and let's say, okay, then Mauricio is the so let's say Mauricio is the prime minister. So I was told no, me when Mauricio will happen to me. Benjamin, have time for that, you know? Me ain't gonna tell you for that. I come into my people, hey, these people down here playing games, you know. So this is what we're gonna have to do. So you have to deal with it. The people and that have to be consensus. Look, anything going forward, we gotta have a government that the people are part of decisions. You understand? You have your vote on certain issues and all these things. You have referendum on certain things and decision making. The people here don't make no decision on nothing except to vote when it's time to vote. These guys going to parliament, and that's it. And laws and things are passed, and you don't even know the hell they're passing.
So what
Nonsense, my virgin.
What do you propose to change? What is happening, and how do you intend to work on the mindset of these same people who you realize are set into this kind of mind frame? Because in order for you to be
the way forward is to have because the way forward, your son, is to have a people that is a part of the government decision making. That is the only way. That's all it is, my virgin. These things are simple. They choose not to do it. It's not like this is a new thing I'm talking about. This is nothing new, my virgin. You understand? There are different type of government. Just like you have sometimes in the United States, you vote on certain issues. Just like but it's like, okay, the people you go out for the cannabis thing. The people want recreational, but they now respect that. These few guns still do what they want to do. You see, that is what it is. That is the problem. How can the people tell you what they want, but you not give them what they want? Just still do what you want. Even though so what the purpose of having they are all different discussions when you're not at the end of the day. Why they don't know what the final product gonna be. They're gonna do what they want. But you're gonna just waste your time having all these taxpayers money, town hall meetings, and discuss when you know you're gonna do what you want. They know what they're gonna do. It's just like you put to the application. I want to hire to somebody, but you don't know you don't hire the people already just because you have to advertise it. When people call you, tell them, "Oh, don't hire the person already." And the same thing. Same thing. Them not serious. That's what it is. They're not serious. I'm not falling into the trap and the game and exciting up myself when I know they're not serious. I can see clearly, yes, son, these are just willful acts. That's what it is. So until the people realize and say, okay, then we got to be a part of the process, and that is what the people want. No, they want to be a part of the process. They are tired of being lied to and not being a part of the decision making. That is, they want to see real constitution reform. You got to start working on these things right away. Equality in the boundaries and all these things right away. You understand? Accountability for ministers right away. Draft up these things. If you're not going to commit to what you're saying you're going to do, well, you resign. If you're going to mismanage taxpayers' fund and found guilty of these things and being caught and project overrun by 10 million and 20 million and 50 million, resign this position. These are what it is. So if you don't want to agree to these things, it means you know you're corrupt then. You're not being honest right there. If you don't want to agree on this thing, you don't want to change nothing of the Constitution, you're not serious, my virgin. With all these wise guys, I'm going to say, oh, over not even a comma been changed. By me taking on the nonsense there. They're not serious. They're not serious with all these great minds they have around here and all these doctors behind the name and all these different alphabet letters. But what the purpose of them be? What the purpose of all these different, some of them need 3-4 lines, a whole book with all the different accolades. But what? Make no sense. It's just Buys Club business, Buys Club. That's all it is. Make no sense, your son. The people know better. But that's my take on that.
Okay, as we move on to the next topic, I'm gonna go through some of the comments that I see here. I think this probably would have been one back when we were talking about education and having that ability and so on. So Alan was asking if you suggest that education has no value, because I guess you were saying, it is just simple and, you don't necessarily need to be qualified and so on to handle certain things and so on. So I guess that was that question. Then we had Lenny Loybert saying, Banky, those are some strong words that you are using, but I tend to agree with you. These politicians that we are electing these days, right across the Caribbean, they are too thin-skinned and they use fear on their people. So those are the two comments that we have here as we say goodnight to some other people who would have joined, Denicia, and Lenny Liebert, and Elvan Ellie, and the others. It's a pleasure to have you locked in with us. We try as much as possible to respond to the comments and calls to the program. I'm going to share the number in the chat here. But in the meantime, yes, Banky, you know, we really going through some serious times, and serious in the sense that, I think with the advent of more technology and so on, and the fact that everybody have smart devices, even down to smart watches and so on, and it brings information to your fingertips, that a lot of things can be refuted and so on in a quick space of time. And I think that a lot of, as much as the divide and rule game is being played, some people are still waking up and paying attention to alternative facts and alternative information. And as a result, we see things like what you and Bijan would have done in the past day or two in terms of counteracting some of the statements made by politicians that seemingly happen to be not so true. And so you're able to highlight some of the things that they think might just blow over and pass over and people forget about. And I think these are things that they utilize to play on the minds of the masses, and sometimes just cater for those who they know would not necessarily listen to the other side or opposition or any other voice other than, the sort of persons or supporters that they may have, or media outlets that they may familiarize themselves with and so on. So we really have some serious challenges ahead of us, and Banky, people like you, and I think I have seen in recent times as well, DJ Marisha, who would have started her, well, seemingly he was independent, but now it seems as if he is claiming that he do have some other members who would be coming on board shortly in terms of maybe setting up an actual new party. The challenge that I see, and is what I'm suggesting that should be looked at, is how you are going to get this set of electorate. I don't know which target range you'll be looking at, if it's those between 18 and 35, or if you're going to be targeting some of the older folks and so on. Whichever your target group may be, how are you going to empower them to be able to see from these perspectives? Because in a lot of cases, depending on the age range and so on, they might have never even been paying attention to politics. They are now going to have to be roped into sometimes paying attention to some of these issues, and maybe you being able to bring some of these arguments and debates their way, so that they can now begin to be more engaged, because you're saying that people are not participating. And then if you are going to expect people to vote for you and or to support you, you're going to have to find ways of getting them to want to participate. So what are some of the things that you have thought about or thinking and planning in terms of seeking to achieve that objective? Because that is going to be critical as you move forward, and people like I said, DJ Marisha and or any other independent candidate that puts themselves up and make themselves available as we move forward.
For one, when you speak to people really have a disgust when it comes to politics, and they don't trust the politicians that we have around here. They know they lie. This is how they speak. They're wicked. They're all about themselves, fattening up the pocket and all the different stuff. You hear it for themselves. You see what I'm talking about. They see it. They see it. They know that's how they. But then my thing is, the resources are there. The resources are the natives one, the taxpayers. and those who contribute. Okay, and when it comes to the spheres and the naysayers and the tax and them benefiting from it, it's not like you're doing them a favor. You see what I mean? Because then you'd have those who think they have made it, and then one also they always live in a society where you have those who don't have it. The masses don't make $25,000 a year. You see what I mean? Now they're gonna make a 24,000 because it's $500. You see what I mean? In America, you're making under $24,000 a year. That's called unearned income. So when they do file your taxes, you get back an X amount and stuff like that. You see what I mean? So if a regular person cannot live on minimum wage, and then you have politicians making 20 million and 30 million, but then they must say that not enough for them. Well, who fool who? Who fooling who? Yeah, son, as I tell you, I ain't playing this wise guys game, my virgin. I speaking to people just how we on the same level. I ain't up on the pedestal, because I'm the same one like of anybody else. Ain't supposed to have a car, ain't supposed to have be successful, ain't supposed to have nothing because you don't have a certain type of name, I ain't come from a certain family. So I ain't got time for all the nonsense there. I ain't got, because growing up is normal within in the 80s and in the 90s. You understand? So I understand and I know how it is. The resources are there for the people. If you can take up these resources for the people and give those outside millions and millions and forgive them debt, so you can't build houses for your people and then not pay nothing either. They can't go to school for free. They can't get free all this health care. We're supposed to don't have a national health care program with the kind of wastage we have around here. Nobody want to do these things. Nobody want to do it. That is all it is, my virgin. We see how monies are taken up and put into tourism and put into do all things. And all these things would have interest in. You know the amount of wise people live on this island here? You know the amount of virgin I got to come who work in all kind of different areas, brilliant minds, brilliant about all kind of different stuff. You have the same and those who listen to this show who want to make a contribution, but these people don't want to hear nothing from them. You understand? They have all kind of advisors, not advise nothing. It's just to get them friends to make a $10,000 a month and whatever, and kick and laugh and whatever and cut. Jokers. It's time to change these things. If you see something now work for the last 40 years, you don't continue with it, just change it. Just change it. That's it. It's just like they have to give you all these medication, not now work. And you want to buy, see some herb to you. Buy sure that not gonna kill me. Nothing else working, but you don't want to drink the little bush tea. You see? Because you just consume and you just so believe. And that's what it is. You're believing something that in these people that you know ain't real. They're faking you, but you don't want to take something that you understand. When all these never work, you don't want to lose. Change the game. Stop play game. Stop people fooling you. Yes, and the amount of wastage that goes with taxpayers' money. You got $1.80 to waste. Where waste go? What 20 cents gonna do when done? Huh? What 20 cents gonna do? First thing, they make too much of money. They gain too much money. They're making too much of money. If you're serving the people, you need to get all the money there. They need to get a pay cut. That's the first thing. When you're serious, when you want to serve people, they're making too much of right in you right there. Okay? Way too much of money. They ain't doing no work. What work them do? Tell them what they're doing. Is the technocrats doing all the work? That's how the civil service one. They ain't doing nothing but reading out for some script somebody give them. So how you want all this money to do what? And then once you do first term, you get your salary for the rest of your life. So when everybody have to work 20 and 30 and 40 years, so how them so special? All that they need to change. So how it can happen for them, but it can happen for the person who work for 5 years. Well, how come they have to work 10 years and 15 years when them only have to do 5 and get all these things? That need to change. That never work. It could go for the same people who work for 5 years and 10 years and 5 years too, and get the money for life. So how them want to get it? Huh? So only them could be
Because the
heroes.
system was never designed. The system was
But
never
that's
designed.
fine. So
And
that's what I talk about changing stuff. So I mean, I about when I design, me understand that long time, So
how,
me find that no more me
how,
about changing things. And
how is
if
going
I'm
to
a part of a
change?
government or anything and they never change
Frankie,
that, me go
how is
resign. Come in and stick around if no fools who never work with these things. Cause these things got
how
to
is it going
change,
to
my
change
virgin.
when you mentioned that we have all of these legal minds and luminaries and so on who are a part of the system, who was and is a part of the system, and one of them is actually saying that and is boasting that not even a comma has been changed in the constitution since 1983, and these are the people who we
That's
are
done.
looking to change these
But
things.
that's then. Me don't pass them things there, Me go forward,
But
Cause once forward,
you need a 62%
huh?
majority. You're gonna need a 62% in the
It never
referendum
happen.
because whatever. But you say it's not gonna happen.
What you talking
That's what you
about,
said.
your son? No, what you talking
It,
about?
what I'm talking about is that for
Uh
any
huh.
of the constitution
Yes.
clauses and whatever change, you would have to
Uh
have
huh.
a 60. I think it's a 62% majority in terms of the referendum. Because there will have to be a referendum. It's not just the elected officials go in and make a decision. They don't just get up and change the constitution. It
Yeah,
has
but
to go
but
through a
but you're
process.
voting on things. But that's fine. You're voting on things. You have to come to the people to vote, and that's about includes decision. If these
But,
people
but, but,
know they need to
frankly,
change
but
it,
here's what I'm
that's
saying. These things have to be
yes.
discussed and have to be a part of,
Well, of
educating the people
course,
who are going to be involved in these things. Now, this
but
is
that's
one
the
of the
whole
reasons.
point.
Why I'm pointing out this, is because of the same explanation here, the same rationale here, why for example, when Nevis tried the 113 clause, that's why it failed, because a lot of the people were not aware, so to speak,
No,
that this is what is
it was
necessary, that they
just
need a
politics.
62%.
That was just,
They voted
but it was
along
just
partisan
politics, yeah, son.
political lines. So, but
Because
what
it's
I'm
politics.
saying
This
is,
was just wrong decision.
in order for the constitution to change, the people have to realize that they have to come together on the things that needs to be changed and not vote or do what they're doing along party lines. So that's a lot of re-education, and education is going to be important in order for people like you, especially Banky, who's stepping up as an independent candidate, because the people who you're going to be looking to support you would have to know these things and have to know how to navigate themselves through what you are seeking, to also make them aware that they need to change from, because you would have to convince them that what they're dealing with, or what is there already, they really need to change from it. So this is going to be a part of the task that you have, you and people like Marisha and maybe others who may seek to stand up as independent candidates, because some of these constitutional things that you're saying needs changing. These processes that I'm talking about go across the board, whether you're independent or you are part of some one of these parties and you want these changes done, you would have to get the consensus. And so it is going to be important for you to get people to understand that this is the kind of mind frame that is going to be necessary, so that when we deal with these issues, that they don't resort to playing the parties and political games and vote along parties and political lines instead of voting for the issues at hand.
I always that to know, your son, and that's why you see I'm speaking about, and we're talking about, we're going about inclusiveness. So it mean it's all about its education. It's all about what they were forward, and so this discussion must take place. It's all about making decision and the right decision, and a decision as an independent decision, not about. Cause you're thinking about down the road, 100 years, whether 50 years from now, and stuff that always can change according in different generations. But you cannot continue the next 40 years without constitutional change. It's just not the right thing to do. And we know better. But when you don't have leaders who want the best for the people, and they just all talking the same crap and gonna just come up boldly and say, oh, this thing never happened, and then they make decisions, oh, things are more complicated. But ain't nothing complicated. Nothing is complicated. You know what I'm saying? So they need to done with it. When you really want to do something, you'll put it in place, and that is that. I'm old enough to know these things. I'm not acting like I'm 16. I don't. I'm too old for that. To be playing games and acting like I don't know any better. Me not going down. Me not going down was my virgin. Me not let my brain function like that. Me not like to waste energy pan these things. So me not play games. Who want to be hug up on this and whatever. Wish them all the best with that. My thing, get to the point. The resources I taxpayers want, that's the way it is. Simple as that. That's what it is. So which mean pay cut. They might get too much of pay to fail. You get paid to fail, you pay people to fail. That didn't make no sense. You people to fail. So we promote mediocrity then. That's what we're doing. It's craziness. But what the purpose of all this money when you fail? That's what I'm trying to explain. So what we pay all this money for?
You see, and this is what I'm saying. Sometimes as I hear these discussions and these comments, I am really baffled because you're talking about paying to fail, and you're doing so. We are doing so. I'm demonstrating, even as we spoke about the cannabis issue, for example, we are paying a minister in Nevis to deal with cannabis, and the minister is doing absolutely nothing. So that is a failure in that regards. And Simkits, we're seeing the same
It's
thing.
not the minister. It's not the minister alone. It's the whole cabinet. Because them a part of it's a collective. Me not single the whole cabinet a fail. That's because they know better. All them singing out this thing.
But I single them out because at this point we can see these things clear in front of us, right? But the point and the reason why I'm talking about also. But look here, Banky.
Yes.
These same ministers, well, let's use the one in Nevis, for example, is voted over and over back into power. So what do you say when you are seeing
you can fool some people sometime, but you can't fool other people all the time because people think that's it, that's fine. Them think that's fine. You can win, you see there are people who rule for whole 2 and 3 dynasty, and then families, and then you get conquered. That's fine. I know things work.
What is that saying about us as a people? What is that saying about us as a people? When we are saying that we are struggling, and yet we have government officials running up the debt of the country to over
plus
500
a lot
million.
of things are not remember, a lot of things are not really fair. Also, the electoral office and different stuff and boundaries and different stuff are not. A lot of stuff is not even. And then when you have stuff coming where you can bring in people from different places, all the things need to change. All these things where people come into your country and after a year and all this different stuff, whatever they could vote, take part in election, them things they shouldn't be happening.
Well, Banky,
these things is causing.
I look forward to seeing your manifesto, Yeah, I look forward to seeing your manifesto because a lot of these things, I hear you saying these things here, but I want to see you, lay them out in your manifesto and lay out how you intend to achieve them and so on as well. Because it sound good, yes, and it may be striking some cards with some people out there, but at the end of the day, we would have to see how you're going to roll this out and how you are going to convince those who you need to convince. Because Banky, me ain't convinced that the people in the frame of mind, even though you are claiming that they could see all of this what's going on, they could see the con and so on. Me really convinced, You know what me
if I speak to 100 people, that's fine. I know that people do think I know. I live here. I know the people. I know them. Who don't know them? It's the same all over. Let me show. The masses are struggling, my brethren. So when people praying on you, I'm gonna chuck money here and there and a 5 and 1,000 here. Virgin, if you never got 1 cent and you offer your water and your light bill and I'm gonna chuck $1,000 in your hand, is $1 million. It is. That's just the reality. So I can look and so when people have been praying and these kind of vibes, I'm gonna come and pay up your bills and all these things. There are kind of different reasons for different stuff. and people accept these gifts. And by accepting
Banky,
gifts like these, yes,
I hear you, right?
go ahead.
And like I said, I'm dealing with the isness of things, and I'm dealing with the way I see it from a reality perspective. And my reality is right now, for example, in relation to the minister that we're speaking of, Nevis. Let's use him for example, the Minister of Agriculture. You claim that he's a failure. You claim that the cabinet is a failure. But I'm specifying him right now.
Yes.
Let's look at it. As much as he's a failure, there isn't even an identified opposition to and against him in his constituency. And we don't have any independents are going to come up. So what is the likeliness of him being returned even though he's a failure? So this is what I'm talking about.
He can lose. He can lose. He can lose his seat.
He don't even have a representative right now. So, but nobody
doesn't mean that's gonna happen. Yes, but you're just thinking like that. But you don't see. You can't talk. How you say it right now, and you come. But I know that's not gonna happen. That's the difference. You see, I don't think how you think, because I know better. You see, you are see it in that perspective, which is fine. But me not see it like that when I know things change. You see, the minister is not winning a seat for doing anything. You know, the minister winning a seat because of where you want to put it, of indigenous, of because a van seat. If you put a dog there to win the seat, it's not special. But then I mean, it's going to continue forever, your son. People wake up after eventually. This thing not going to continue forever. That's just what it is. These things shall not going to continue forever, my virgin.
I hear you, Banky.
That's just
I hear you, Banky. And I know the reality is it can change.
Of course. I know the reality. So you're going to rule out that? You're going to rule out that? There are those who always same used to think the same way. Zook used to think the same way. A lot of others used to think the same way, and they've lost. Timothy just think the same way. Anybody would think would have happened in a single gang with Labour? That's the reality, my virgin. That's the reality. When the people fed up, they're fed up. That's just what it is. Because them feel the squeeze. You know what I'm saying? Them feel the squeeze. That is the reality. They don't know. They can't tell 100%. They can say what they want. Because you can't predict everything all the time of how you think you're going to work out. That's just what it is. You don't rule out nothing. So, me not worry about the minister over in Gingerland. Then things don't bother me. He can clap and it doesn't matter. That's just it. As confident as you feel, you're still a failure. That's just what it is. So that doesn't mean you're going to win all the time. People rise up. That's just it, my virgin. And if you don't think like that and live, you feel like you're not going to work. You're not going to work. So I know better. So me not worry about who feel comfortable and can't. Nah. I'm not worried about stuff like that. I'm not worried about the things there. And then in control.
And as a matter of fact, me ain't got nothing in the race. What I'm looking at, is the reality that there are those who are able to play the game because for them it's a game, and at the end they're very successful at playing the game and winning the game. So as much as, and it's what I'm getting at, as much as they may be failures or a failure, they are very successful at playing that game and winning at that game.
Yeah.
And the objective for them is to win. So, and that's why I guess maybe they say ignore the noise at the end of the day. Because even though you may have all of these striking facts and all of these things that should cause them not to win, they still have whatever strategies and utilize whatever strategies to still then successfully win.
Good. So because you're just not relying. And remember, we have a situation where you are allowed to bring people from all over the place. You understand? Dead people are vote.
That's my thing. Whatever strategies they use, at the end of the day, they are successful. And that could only happen because no people
those are not.
People on the ground.
Yes.
really stand up and do what they say they need to do and demonstrate that, well, by you people really failure may gain you the support. That could have never happened.
Good.
That only happened because, to
Yes.
some extent, in addition to those who they bring in or whatever, they still would have had an overwhelming amount of support on the local front. And to be having that overwhelming support, even though them a failure, speak volumes to the people and the kind of mindset that we have to deal with and that you would have to change if you expect to be successful, you and any other independent candidate. And that is what I am talking about. That mindset of the people that really need
Yes.
to change.
Yes, and we knows that. We know it's like this is not like we don't know these things. So this is not a debate about these things. You see what I mean? It's just to move forward. Because you see, we end up in an environment where when you're supposed to help the less fortunate, you're preying on them. That's what you're preying on them. These things need to change, my virgin. You can't be tricking the taxpayers and the natives with the resources belongs to you. And you act like you're gonna fool me to give me this and give me that. But when it comes to the others, they just receive it open-handedly and just forgiving. And then it's gonna be called handout. So when you give Christoph Harbour and all these other entities millions in a handout, you see? And wave out in a handout. When it comes to your own locals.
Already, because Christoph Harbour will give them $1 million campaign fund. You can't give them $1 million campaign fund, so you're gonna get a little handout. You're $500 and you feel good.
So then you're gonna come and tell me, so why me have to convince these people and then you say the simple thing, yeah. So what are we really having the conversation for? If it's just this simple to give away money like so. To give away 100, this is what I'm talking about, right? So why we even wasting time? You make it like things is complicated. It's not complicated. That's the whole point.
Because you are not holding these people accountable. They could do these things and get away with it and you don't know. And continue to play the game with you, which is what they do, generally.
My virgin, if you have people who are there who will use resources to benefit the people when it comes to healthcare, when it comes to education, it's their money. The best thing you can do, you understand, is to build the minds of your people. That's the best resource you can do. Your people is the most important resource. So whatever you instill in them, skill them, train them, whatever it is they want to be, you pay for it. You pay for it. They are those who feel, no pay for that, they're going to take loan. Take loan for what? At the money be. You're investing in your people. They're going to come back and instill, you give them, they don't come back, you put them to work to develop the country. We don't want we just pressuring our people and holding back our people and then easily wasting millions on roads on overdone projects when you can educate $20 million and $100 million. How much people can educate with that kind of money there? Huh? How much people can educate with that kind of money there? I'm talking about these are willful acts.
No, you call it willful. You're not necessarily
because
willful.
you make excuse. Well, maybe.
No, they're part of strategies. The strategies that I will use to win my next election. Those millions of dollars they're talking about on road project. You think it's wasted? It ain't wasted. That's propping up my members and making sure that my people get money and that people get food in the plate and so on, so that they can support me and they can get the extra money to help get the man over there $500 and have a little party for the people over there who they're gonna get a little support to come vote for me.
Okay.
So it's strategies.
Right.
But it's what I'm going to show you. So it's not wastage. It's just a part of the strategy that is going to help them to win the election. Remember, I tell you, that their objective is to win. So even though they may be failing, and you could see the failures, it is all a part of strategy. Let's look at it. You went to visit the second phase of the Indian Castle project. Strategically, coming close to, I think it was an election or whatever, somebody was paid a pile of money to clean up the land, right? And nothing happened after that.
Yes.
the money paid and everybody, whoever was supposed to eat and whoever was supposed to get the share and whoever was supposed to whatever that happened, right?
Okay.
And then what?
Okay.
Going back to
Watch.
now,
Wait.
Some other money
The land. Okay. But the land don't clean. There's a new minister. The land clean. The resources is there. The wire is there. So same cabinet, but there's a new minister. So where the project never. So
what year we in now? 2025. We in the year 2025 now, right?
Yeah.
So here's what's gonna happen. We're getting close to the next 2 years is election. So just before election, some major projects supposed to start, which is going to make you feel like things are going to happen. And we're gonna do these things and money gonna be flowing around and pictures to show where these projects are happening and da. And then they win the next election and then maybe the project hold up again until the next 3 years pass. And then they go back again and do the same thing again, coming close to the next end of the 2 year again. This cycle continue. I mean, Banky, we see it, we know it. I mean, why are we pretending like it doesn't happen? And this is why I'm saying it is really going to be a part of you to kind of help also some of these people who are not seeing these things that I am pointing out, that maybe me and you see so clearly, because the reality is sometimes
so
we think that people see
these. Some people don't.
No,
so wait till they
see
it.
Why you think they don't see it?
Okay.
Because I know everybody is thinking along the lines that we are thinking, and everybody don't have this kind of level of information that we have. So that is why it is important for us to some bring these things
watching and no. People know when coming up close to election, it's tend to have a lot of different projects going on here and there, and people know that. You live in a community, you know what is normal, is the norm. There's something you call norm. You don't got to be a rocket scientist to figure out none of these things.
Hold on, Banky.
These are norm.
What you not understand is why it is done and how it is done and how it helps their campaign. Because when these projects start,
you think your people stupid. So you're saying your people are stupid then. They don't wait.
No,
they don't understand
stupid.
They don't see these things.
No, hold on, Banky. Remember when these things happen, Remember a narrative is pushed when these things are happening, And the narrative is, yes, we are providing work for the people. See, we have work happening in the country. The country is moving forward. And all. So that is what is being promoted, Not that by we creating some work, so that some money could go across it, so that me people over so could get a little squeeze out of this and me people over so. That is not what is being promulgated. So we have to understand that at the same time, even though we see it, that is not the agenda.
I think we are looking down on our people and think our people are not wise to see these things. I don't see it like that. And I refuse to see it like that. And that is where government will change by the time it can mean people know better. Yes.
But if you're telling me the people are seeing these things and still doing and still taking those actions, well, what am I to say then?
Yes. Because you gotta keep talking, brethren, because it's different. Yes, because it's fair, brethren. Yeah, that is the reality. It's fair in all kind of different ways. That's what it is. We're talking about. Everybody who you speak one-on-one, you could do it. You could do sampling and talk to who you with if individually you hear exactly what they tell you. Yes, but then they go behind the back for whatever reason. Then they change their mind again and do what they have to do. That's it. But speaking to people that tell you exactly. Anybody can do it. They knows. But the people who come in front of your face and you speak to them who said that this blue and that blue, they tell you exactly are them who said that this green and that green are the purple or whatever. They tell you exactly the reality of the people them they support and the party they support and the evilness and the this and the that and what they tell you. That is the reality, my virgin.
That's only like
telling you.
That's only like the woman what they with the man and the man maybe bang him about cheat on bad or whatever. And you come
exactly. That's the whole point.
But then you go back
that's the whole point. Yes.
Well, so then,
yes.
then
that's
you
it.
Come complain to me for. So then what you can complain to me for?
Okay, because you pay the bills. You see, because you love them. You see, Lord, if you not bang me, not love me. You see, Lord, that's why you not love me because you not bang me. Lord, you not kick me up in a block of my eye.
Yes. Can't take your blows.
Then I just tell you. Yes, because now bang me enough, so I can complain. That is the whole point. That's the whole point.
Yo, I tell you, man, my people, I sometimes I'm really sorry for my people, like what we're going through, and seeing these things, and as a people, I don't understand why we should have a fear to speak to our employees. I hire some people, even for 10 cents out of my taxes, me 10 cents going towards your salary every month. And so, which means I
No,
have a
but
right to speak to you. I have a right to
but
question
you
you. I
call
have a right to challenge
you
you in
call
regards to
employees,
what
yes,
we.
son. But where do you call your employees? You're calling them boss. All of a sudden you call
Well,
them boss.
well,
Eh? But how
you
that
allow
turn
them
out?
to. You allow them. Are you allowing them to use reverse psychology on you? So and that's a challenge that I'm saying that you have. You have not to get them people the mindset change in order for them to see what you are see and to be able to roll with the agenda that you are going to be rolling as an independent candidate.
No,
But this is
because
the challenge.
they're not correcting them. They're not correcting them. They're going
But they
along
don't
again and
want to.
calling them
But they
after
want to.
names.
They
But
want
that's the whole
to
point. That is the whole
so
point.
that is why we have to do
That
that.
is the whole
If
point.
in order for us to have an audience that we need, we now have to start to re-engineer the brains of these young minds so that they want to keep in that kind of state. And that is why they don't want to empower them
Oh,
so that they could be making their own money. They want to just give them a little handout, continue give them a little $500 when election come and give a little blacks and buy keep a little party for you and bring in an artist using the Roman style of bread and circus.
yes, son.
Bread and
We are going to
circus.
time. We're going done with time. Let we touch Indian Castle. Can we not touch that?
Yes.
All right. Go ahead.
Yeah, so that is a topic as well, and that again speaks to some of what we are talking about, Banky, in the sense that here is it that you can see failure in its, blatant. Even Stevie Wonder could see, the failure in a project like that, and yet no outcry, no nothing, until recently a question was asked at the set of town hall meetings that have been held recently by the concerned citizens movement, and the response that was given prompted Bijan or Beyond to actually move forward and do some journalistic play a very interesting role in terms of journalism and went and get that interview with you to showcase and demonstrate the fact that what was said by the minister at the press conference or at the town hall meeting was not necessarily the truth. And so things like that. Um, and yet, like I said, even up to this point, if an election is supposed to call tomorrow, um, chances are, we don't know. So, Banky, um, you were the main guy at the project there at Indian Castle. You were from the inception. You were able to turn that project into the envy of the region, not just in Kitts and Nevis, but the envy of the region. A success story touted about in all kind of magazines and all kind of publications around the world in terms of your efforts to combat the COVID-19 and food security and food sovereignty in the region. And then it was handed back over to the government in 2023. And it is really painful to see what it looks like in looking at the videos that were presented just yesterday or the day before yesterday. So tell us a little bit about that. And it really touches you because you would have been very much instrumental in seeing the project to reality. And now to go down there and see it in that condition, I'm sure, it really hurts your heart. So, talk to us about that.
Well, I realized there was a few town hall going on, and someone sent me some videos with Bijan asking some question to the minister about Indian Castle, and he's saying their production continue for every open the community of Indian Castle and one ton of things. But which the minister is lying because the minister know from since I leave the department in 2023 December. I have trained what is been at the estate. I started that project in 2021 after Easter with 5 workers, and then get an extra worker, make 6 along with myself, because that area is the largest estate, which of 5 estate the government have, but was underused, or like 3 acres or 4 acres I was using. Estate was just overgrown. You see, just overgrown. Poor management, nothing, little production, and for a whole year I've been asked by the peers, the former peers, to take over the project and stuff like that. And then after a year, then I decided, okay, then cars, I'll take, because I realized I'm a kind of person, the agriculture department have a lot of different subsectors. They have the agro-processing unit. I'll find myself over there. I mean, and then I'll find myself down by the vet sometime, down by the abattoir, small farm. I'm just the kind of person that just like to be in different areas and use every area to learn something. And I realized the agro-processing unit always lacking stuff. They would buy stuff from the general public, but I see that they need an area. They should have their own area where they can grow their stuff, and that is something I always advocate for them. So I just, after a while meditated, I just use the opportunity to develop, well, just a food orchard, you know what I mean, fruit, cheese, and then they can still intercrop and farm. And the way forward, after before I leave, I said I had DJ Woodis as my foreman, okay, along with the other workers and stuff like that. And within the 6 months before I'm leaving, it was a full intensive training where he was responsible for leading, continuing, handing down the project where he will continue managing daily work. I'll observe and stuff like that, make sure he's doing the right thing, and teaching him different management techniques where he can't really show in favoritism amongst the workers and stuff like that. So after I left, all the information was given to the PS at that time that the ideal person to live to manage that estate was Marvin Lewis, and then he can move up on the guys as the foreman to work along with him. And if I was there and the next phase was being done, then Woodis would have managed that estate, and I run the other estate and stuff like that, more or less. But the minister himself is the one who let the PS know he do not want Marvin Lewis down there. He handpicked the chief extension officer and put him as the manager. He himself will handpick him. The manager who is there presently, within 1 month, dismantled everything that was there when I left. So in end of January, I left in December 30th, January 2024, everything done mash up. So I've been here for over a year and 7 months talking about Indian Castle. And you know that. We've been talking about it over and over and over. Nobody's saying nothing. Over and over and over. You know that. We don't just talk about this is nothing new. The minister live on his road. He don't go down there. Everybody benefit from Indian Castle project. Everybody from Nevis. Because that what I used when I used to manage that estate, yes, and is to keep monthly functions. That every quarter we'll invite vendors and DJs, and you pay them, they get paid, and you create family fund, you get bouncing castles. So you're generating work within that community and you're bringing people within the Gingerland area at the same time. And you have been encouraged to do some farming, grow some fruit trees, and it works. So how can you mash up something? So the problem is not Woodies. No, Woodies have been moved, and those who work under me have been moved. And this new manager bring in who he want to bring in. You see? So everything just fall apart. Is each to his own. So the issue is the cabinet, the farm manager who don't show up to work, and the minister. That is the issue. Them need to be fired. How can they mash up 40 acres of food? No water. Not even water there for the workers to use in the building. Madness. No accountability. What the minister failed to over is, even though he worked in agriculture for over 40 years and he talk about 100 years, once you harvest something off of an estate, you yourself keep your weights, marketing get the weight, then you get your paperwork, then the paperwork go within the ministry, arch clerical and stuff like that, and the information is shared. That's how open the works. That's how everyday normal work within the ministry. So records have been shown. Minister can't show no kind of data. Manager can't show no kind of data. The director can't show no kind of data. The deputy, the acting peers, nobody can show no data. I communicate within the department. People, the department show me love every day, Virgin. The whole from the top show me love every day. Me and everybody in the department live good. But what I love to see is people being professional about their work. And when you're going, so you have all this experience, you're not doing a work, you're failing. I don't like people who fail in a Virgin. I can't take it because then, and I assure you, if the vetter fail, the whole department will fail. If small farmer fail, Indian Castle fail because it's a collective effort. It's not about each sectors because the abattoir don't go, the abattoir don't care about this section here. Otherwise, by the it's agriculture going to still get the blame. And that is how I always look at things. Everybody's supposed to succeed. In the reason for nobody within that sector supposed to fail. When they're all professionals, they're all trained. So any failure committing that's in the agricultural sector is willful act. Yes, because everybody is well trained. So if you're trained and then you are failed, well, you don't need to be inside there. What the purpose if you're trained and have all and you're failed? That don't make no sense. That don't make no sense, yes, son. So by going down there and give an overview and to see all those shaddocks, over 40 shaddocks trees dying, dead, only one or two with the stem have and one or two green leaves or whatever, stems or whatever, struggling. Coconut trees, loads of coconut trees have on coconut, but just dry up. The heart are bend down. Sugar apple over 400 uprooted. They don't even exist no more. This is like when your country have been conquered and the man erase it like it never exists. That is what the minister and the farm manager and the cabinet is doing to Indian Castle. Erase it like it never existed, but it have existed because the information is there. The agricultural open day, the first agricultural day after, is over 10,000 pound of melon was harvested, which in the course of 12, because and next to 1,000 pound probably still giveaway, and all these things is documented. Don't talk about the sorrel, squash, cassavas, evidence are there. Every harvesting consistently throughout the time I've been there. Just how I'm doing on my farm the same way. You see, that's just what it is. And just with those everybody who come there, they want to know how much where the workers them. The workers they can't believe. Because for every acre, you should have at least 2 workers. And it's 40, so you can do the math. You see? So and then the manager who you put there is the one who was fighting the estate. The worst, nothing gonna come out of down there, waste of time. The smartest of the smartest say nothing gonna go down there. But the evidence is there. So how you gonna put somebody in a position with all the paperwork qualification, failing, workers showing up to work for over a year and a half, getting paid, working Saturday and Sunday, and not doing no work, but yet you're still giving them overtime. And the minister approving these things, you understand? The premier accepting these things cannot correct his deputy. His deputy, his deputy failing. My virgin, my words to the minister, to the premier, Mark, you got to get rid. So you get rid of child out of educate out of communications. So you have to get rid of your deputy out of agriculture. Out. Along with his best friend, which is the manager. Those two don't need to be in agriculture. They have no love for agriculture. They only got love for each other. And this is sad. The whole of Nevis and all those who are coming down for Culturama and who used to go to, they need to take a pass down in Hallingswood and see the orchard. And if you have love for the premier and have love for genuine love for your country and your money have been, you should have an issue with these things. It's about times the amount of calls I get and the amount of call people call in Woodies. Woodies is not the issue. You all need to call the minister. The minister is the one who handpick the manager down there and say he don't want Woodies to be the manager, where Woodies was doing a good job. When I left, is the minister handpick his best friend and put him there. The director can't tell the manager nothing. The deputy can't tell the manager nothing. Because he only answers to the minister. He's telling them straight in front of his face. And all these guys supposed to be friends. So how me and your friend, but you won't tell me you not take order from me. These are the protocols. You see what I mean? So this is what I don't understand. So when I use with these guys, say, Virgin, all are your friend. So how your friend and make you look better? These things don't make no sense. Make no kind of sense. These are food. So if we as a people allow what happening to Indian castle, we're gonna pay for these things in my virgin. I know that. We're gonna pay for because right now the trees them is on the last breath. The last breath, lacking everything, especially water stress and nutrient stress. And then they play anything after this. The trees they won't survive because the little rainfall and the moisture and they don't for themselves properly. So they might fight, they might tough it out. But this is a sin. This is an abomination. And all those who play this party politics and talking about making the government look bad. I'm the one who was tasked to be doing 40 acres along with my 5 workers and with the belief of the PS at the time and behind the minister that this project gonna work. But you sure that gonna work? But you mean if you work, I'm gonna do it. And the staff work along with me. Nobody else believe this project gonna work, but the staff who's working along with me. Nobody else. So how now something be successful, you all mash it up. The premier used to talk about this every day. Ring out, all and talk about it. Also, not, you didn't hear them talk about Indian Castle over a year and a half. Talk about what? They can't talk. Phase 2 is right there. The minister going to start phase 2 in the first quarter. This is the third quarter. Cannot start it. Cannot start it. You see, the problem with the minister is he's so personal. He want to tell who going to get what and who going to get what. That is the problem with these ministers within the government sector. They're acting like they're over the civil service where they're supposed to listen to the PS and those who are the highest paid civil servant. They're not civil servant. You know what I'm saying? The minister want to get in the personal business and want to represent me for the civil. Minister can't represent me here, my friend. I represent myself. You cannot talk to the civil service when I do for something. And you want to talk to people. No, you can't talk for me, Virgin. You ain't my friend. You're getting personal. You're out of order. You're mad. I represent myself wherever I go. You can't speak for me. I'm more qualified than him. I have done. Nobody can do it in the department. That's just the reality. Because there's nobody in the committed. Otherwise, it would have been done long time. There's a whole team has been formulated from Sinkits, from and kind of different things, and in Navy's physical planning and our environment to do phase 2. They don't make me tell the bank we can't do it. We got to bring you upon this. They got to contract you. But they rather let them in the Wamit. The minister Zook, our ex-minister Zook Jeffers, have a show. He can't utter nothing. They all know. These are our taxpayers, you know. These are our money, you know. The videos, the evidence, all the whole of Hanley's Road and Ginger and Navy's done went to Indian Castle. The amount of texts I get, people tell me every time my friends come to visiting, I take all my guests to Indian Castle. I'm so proud of down there. All kind of information notes I have in my texts. They knows that. So this is not nothing new. This is just a shame on the whole of the government, and shame for the people of Nevis to accept these things. I have done my part in my Virgin, and I will continue to talk because see what we do about farming and these projects. It takes dedication. You must dedicate yourself. I open the gate when I'm down there first thing in the morning before 6:30 or 6:45, because the workers must be there by 6:45 because and then get yourself to start work. It's a professional place. You see? And then I leave down there in the evening after 7, after 8, just enjoying the view and watching moonshot and whatever. You see? These are the reality. The minister passed me afternoon to when I go walking all after 5, 6 o'clock game back down there. He passed me all the time. So he can verify what I'm saying. The minister need to be fired. He do not need to be the minister of agriculture. Because he have no interest in agriculture. You ever hear him talk about cannabis? You know, when I asked him about cannabis, you know what he say? Sinky taking the lead, so we will follow. What that mean? What does that mean? 2023. Yes.
We're gonna take up a lot of this in the Everything Agriculture program. We have already run the 2 hours and 9 minutes. I mean, as simple as it is, we already
Yes,
gone
I.
a bit over time. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna, a point taken though, I must say, and I could understand your passion because it is something that is very dear to your heart. It's something that you would have been a part of, and really would love to see it have been the success that it could have been. And it's not too late, Banky. Like I said, we can still be contracted to take it back and really bring it back to reality. So let's look at that and get into further discussions and that phase 2 and phase 1 and everything agriculture on Friday. But for today, I think we would have had some very interesting topics that we touched on, and we would have gotten, some very interesting debates and discussions. And like I said, I love the way we do debate, and we do not necessarily agree, and we want people to realize that this is what we should
Yes,
be
I.
able to do, and this is what it should be like. That whether you're friends or not friends, or you just have a point of view, you should be able to debate your point of view and hold your point of view, and you don't have to be upset with each other at the end of the day. You don't have to, not, cause at the end of the day, my banking and not talk because we disagree on a
Yeah,
point.
man.
If anything, Banky is going to go do some more research and come back to counteract me or vice versa. I might go and get some more information and say, bye,
Yes, I.
Banky, blah, blah, blah. And the
That's
discussion
good.
continue. And that's how it is supposed to be.
Yes.
And this is what we want people to realize as well, that you could be, in heated discussions or whatever with your associate and debate and so on. But at the end of the day, it doesn't mean you don't have to get violent, and you don't have to make enemies of each other as a result of disagreeing on a particular point. And with that said, people, we want us to give thanks to the Real Entertainment Network team and all those who would have dedicated their time to make this a reality. We also want to say thank you to all of the folks who would have listened and participated in making the comments and tune in on the YouTube platform and subscribe and like and share it. We want to say thank you, everybody, and we look forward to seeing you next week for another edition of the Topics, and or on Friday for another edition of Everything Agriculture. Until then, much love, everybody. Guidance and high tech share.
Run the mic till Paco play the music.
Yeah, well, yes, I guess in the meantime, we will wait for our technical team to take us out of here. But I guess I could use this time to let you know that we will be embarking on the 10,000 fruit tree planting project. Folks, if you're interested, if you're overseas and you want to be a part of that drive, you can donate, $10 US, and adopt a plant. And we would tag the plant and label it and make sure that you can keep a record of that plant and its growth and its progress. We are really looking forward to encouraging folks to plant fruit trees. And when you do, you're not planting just for you. Think of your grandchildren, your great grandchildren who'll be eating from that mango tree or that sugar apple tree that you planted 50, 60 years ago, 70, 80, 90 years ago. That's the kind of thinking, and it would help with our food sovereignty issue that we're dealing with as a people. And at the same time, you contribute to something that is positive. Like Banky said, we got a lot of mangoes up on the farm. We got a lot of mangoes, guinea. We got some wax apples and so on. So, if you happen to be in the area, you can, stop by Silma's Superet and Artafara's plant nursery. They're both located in the same space. And you can, purchase a plant or just take a tour of the farm and be able to
That's
experience.
on. We got 5 more minutes, eh? So we can run for 5 more minutes. Then Papa come in.
Okay, yeah. So, and we've got that going on. So we want to encourage you to, purchase a plant, pet a plant. That was a project that I had and still have going, where, people are buying dogs and rabbits and all kind of different creatures and petting them. But you could buy a plant and pet your plant, take care of your plant, find out all the things you need to take care of it and how to make it, be one of the most wonderful plants ever. And, it can be that plant that you know, because like for me right now, Banky, I had 2 mangoes this morning from a tree that my father planted. And you know how good it felt for me eating mangoes, knowing that by is my father plant these trees here, you know, and my son would be able to eat from this, and maybe his children would be able to eat from that tree, you know how we can blow it down and so on. So that is part of the motivation for me to want to do this, to want to make sure that, you know, as you are growing, think about it. Decorate your yard with some fruit trees. And as Banky say, you could have your fruit orchard, then intercrop with some other shorter term crops and so on, and have your own little garden. So when you're ready, you can go and pick your own mangoes, you can pick your own sugar apple, you can pick your own wax apple. You know that they're not no chemical sprayed on them. You know that they were taken care of organically and so on. And if you gave that extra help to them and so on, you know, it is really an inspiration for you. And when you start to see your children and your grandchildren eating from these trees, and they could say, "Boy, yeah, boy, is my father had planted this, or is my great uncle had planted this, or my grandfather had planted this," it means a lot. And it does well for our food sovereignty challenge that we're dealing with. So, you know, I want to encourage folks to, as much as possible, engage in you know, planting a tree, planting some trees. I want folks to be able to support Shabazz Organics down at Cades Bay. As you know, right now, as he mentioned, watermelons will be coming in soon. He's got a lot of mangoes and not sugar apple, star apple, star fruit that I see there. He talked about papayas. He has wax apple as well. And so take a trip on the farm, you know, visit Shabazz, visit Tafara's plant nursery, visit the vineyard and check out Ounce and what he's doing on that side. And if you need to get your garden set up and so on, you know, he does some consulting and so on and help you set up your garden, set up your little area and so on. And so, you know, these are things and people who we would want to encourage you to help to be a part of the solution. We don't want to just talk about the problems. And that's the thing. We come here on this platform and we talk about some of the issues, but we are also offering solutions. And so feel free at any time to reach out to, like I said, Ounce, Banky, or myself, and, you know, support our little ventures, you know, support the vineyard, support Shabazz Organics, and support Tafara's plant nursery. I'm looking forward to launch the tree planting project on the 28th of July. So that's, you know, I'm doing some preparation work in relation to that right now, getting the place set up and, you know, getting the ambience to look the way I would want it to look. It might not be exactly where it should be by then, but it would be closer to it. And I would hope that, you know, we could have a very relaxing and enjoyable, you know, event and activity on that day. So people look forward to that. We'll be keeping you updated and posted in that regards, and continue to support Silma Superettes there in Ghana Road. In terms of the Real Entertainment Network, I got to use these couple of minutes also to big up the team, support the Real Entertainment Network team, the contributions that they've been making over the years. You know, can't go unnoticed. And we definitely want to give the guys and girls who are a part of the team their flowers while they are alive. Banky, I mean, a lot of people might not know the kind of commitment and the you know, the technical aspects that we have to deal with, and the fact that we are at different parts of the globe, but making this a reality. You know, some are in Miami, some are, you know, I used to be in California, Banky and St. Kitts and Nevis, but we still make this happen. And it takes a bit of coordination, planning, and commitment from the team to make this a reality. So I really want to extend that level of thanks and appreciation to the Real Entertainment team for going above and beyond. I mean, also, I must commend ourselves to Banky, because we came in, we could say, the last 2 members of the team, and we have, you know, been here helping to hold it down and keep things going and flowing. And the cooperation from the team is, you know, excellent, and we make it happen. And I really want to thank, you know, all those who chip in here and there, Ira, Reese, Alan, you know, Chev, you know, the whole crew. you know, to just make it happen. We really appreciate you, and we really appreciate you also welcoming us and making us feel a part of the team and feel as, you know, like we were even really there from the origin. And so we really want to thank the whole crew, and we can't also leave out a lot of our supporters, those who make it their business to also follow and subscribe, whether it's on YouTube, Twitch TV, or on Facebook. We really, really want to thank you guys for the support, and, you know, let us know that we're not just here doing this alone, that, you know, at least we have some people out there listening and commenting and, you know, showing appreciation, that they do appreciate what we do say and what we do talk about, and the topics that we bring to the table. So
Yeah, yes, and I just want to
Banky,
say, for those who are coming down for the season, to always feel free to visit Shabba's Organics, get a tour of the farm, get some fresh foods, pick some of the foods and stuff like that, and just relax, get a nice breeze and that farm feeling. And Fridays, come get your cook up, and Saturdays at Master's Last Stop, get your fungi, your caramel and fish water and stuff like that. And your different soul food, the macaroni pies and rice and chicken and other stew fish and whatever it is on the menu. Something is ours on the menu, and the food go fast too. So you got to check it out, put in your order, because then girls can cook. So when you want the best soul food in town, you can come at the farm, Mansell's Last Stop, Shabba's Organics, and just ask Amanis, you understand, and you'll be good to go. And Aisha, then girl did some good cook your son. Also, we have local fresh juice, Star Apple, watermelon, best watermelon juice in the on the island. So come and just check it out and stuff like that. So appreciate those who come out, continue to come out and support Showers Organics. I mean, supporting that. I mean, you're supporting the business concept my uncle had over the years, the farm model, and which continue to work with your farm. The farmer should live on the farm, have the business on the farm. We spend more time the family, grow on the farm, and that was the ideal model and stuff like that. So next, I'm working along with some stuff with tourism, because I mean, I think it's important. One of these mango festivals should be able to keep within my environment and my farm, same with too, especially Fridays. So hopefully that can happen for next year as things get worked out and stuff like that. Because it is something that my uncle have been partnering with tourism all the time, with tours and through the hotels. I mean, he is one who have made his mark, and it's about time something. And within farmers, we start to rename certain names and street within the people within our community that have contributed, and not just name things off of politicians and stuff like that. So it's about time we start to look things differently, or within our community, because we all contribute in different ways, and it's all about each one teach one. Yes, son.
yeah, man, most definitely. We definitely have to, you know, continue to support little ventures like this, and so I definitely want to encourage folks to, you know, be a part of the agro-tourism venture that we are seeking to provide. I love the collaboration that we do have so far, because folks can also pick up plants from Tafara's plant nursery at Shabba's Organics. We collaborate together in that way as well. And we also, you know, want to be able to let folks know that you can also take a trip up to Fountain as well. The environment and the ambiance is kind of different, a little bit of higher altitude breeze on that side. And yeah, we do have some similar foods, and maybe some that you might not necessarily have on your side. But yeah, let's enjoy Nevis in a different way. We have little different experiences that you can go back and say, hey man, we had a fun time on the farm. It was really lovely, and that's what we really want for you to be able to experience that. So for those coming home for Culturama as well, I look forward to seeing some of people I have not seen for a very long time, and being able to share that kind of experience with them. So I am looking forward to having a mango stop. Banky, I have so much mangoes right now that I want to be able to just have do like back in the old time there, where we have like a bath pan, You got a bar pan full of mango in a water, and folks can come and take a 2 or 3 and sit and have a conversation, because we used to just eat over the bar pan. It used to be like 6, 7, 8, 9 of us. We just eat and have conversation, laugh and joke, and so I want to be able to bring back some of those kind of memories and that kind of energy and so on. So yeah, people look out for that. I'll probably post that sometime on social media in the not too distant future, so you can come through and just, cause I do feed the pigs a lot of mangoes, Banky, and it hurts my heart sometimes to see the amount of mango just wasted. When people can just maybe come and at least get a couple to pick up and eat and enjoy, instead of just wasting. So I really look forward to that.
Well, definitely.
Yeah. So
We're looking. Go ahead, Yasun.
yeah, I was just gonna say, we do look forward to being able to demonstrate what we have been doing over the years, and to demonstrate the fact that we're not just talking, and we don't just come here because we want to criticize anybody or we want to try to
I be having conversations.
Okay, so at least it seems as if our technical team is ready. So people, give thanks. We do look forward to seeing you all next week. On Friday.
Took my lighter and you burned the bridge. Thought you was a writer. No, you just an idol. You got me feeling like Big Sean in this 5, 4, 3, 2. I deserve a